calor de eso. Van a tener calor, humo, después van a tener un gas condensable y un gas no condensable.
Okay? So these systems operate at one temperature.
Todos estos operan a un solo nivel de temperatura.
Okay, so if I'm going to choose, for example, this plastic bottle, it has a polypropylene cap,
Si
a polyethylene film, and a PET bottle.
voy a agarrar si tengo este PET, por ejemplo, que tiene una tapita dura, que tiene un plástico blando que lo envuelve.
All of these plastics need a different temperature to break down.
Todos estos plásticos son diferentes y necesitan distintas temperaturas para deshacerse.
So if I use this old technology, how can I get rid of this plastic?
Si utilizo la vieja, tengo forma de que todos estos componentes trabajen se procesen de la misma forma.
The other thing that happens in these systems is you're introducing plastic at ambient air temperature, room temperature, and you're introducing it straight away into 400 degrees, which that burns it, right?
Tenemos la temperatura ambiente que usamos y se concentra el calor determinado para poder provocar un calor determinado.
You're going to get oil like this from that kind of system.
Van a tener,
I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like molasses. It's very black,
van a tener un combustible que es así,
Not very
muy
good
oscuro,
quality.
muy denso, muy oscuro.
high carbon. This is not good. Okay.
Se lo van a comer.
Okay, so we're talking about our batch system. This is our batch system here, right? I have plastic inside. Okay, so I need to apply heat to it. Because it's a vessel, I can't just put heat in the middle because the sides also need heat. So I need heat there. I need heat there. Also, I need to make sure it's even heat, so I need to add more. So batch systems require every 400 centimeters to 1 meter a heating unit. That makes them inefficient. Okay, so if you go to our system, the SEPCO system here, we have one burner. So automatic. Okay. We use this one burner to create heat and we circulate that heat through the system.
Lo que hacemos es metemos calor por ahí y después tenemos unas turbinas que van generando el calor y lo transportamos por el sistema.
Now, we are going to have here also different temperatures.
Vamos a tener distintas temperaturas en cada escalón.
Okay, so now I've addressed the issues that these guys have at having their temperature at 300.
Ellos tienen una sola temperatura a 300 grados y tienen que quemar todo y no lo hace parejo. Nosotros tenemos la posibilidad de elegir distintas escalas de valor de calor.
Because just as I'm talking about high density polyethylene, that can need to be broken down at 200 degrees all the way up to 400 degrees, depending on the recipe, depending on the producer of the plastic.
Depende de la receta que estamos usando o lo que estamos aplicando, es la tipo de temperatura que usamos.
So you have a couple of different things that this solves as far as problems go with pyrolysis.
Esto ya en pirólisis cambia mucho y resuelve mucho los problemas que tenemos en la aplicación de distintos tipos de calor.
Number one is you have a linear temperature increase, right? So it goes from 50 to 400.
Primero que nada tenemos la posibilidad de escalar con temperaturas de 50 grados a 400.
Okay. So as temperature increases, I address all the different plastics.
En la medida que va aumentando las distintas temperaturas, tenemos la ventaja de que también se van pudiendo fundir cada diferente tipo de plástico.
I will have less smoke and carbon created because I'm not introducing it straight away to a high temperature.
Voy a tener menos carbonos que se quemen porque lo voy aplicando de forma escalonada.
Sorry, some technical. Okay, so if you think about a system as well, this batch system, it's going to have temperature variance because these batch systems, they recirculate gas.
En el sistema tradicional o el viejo que tiene los VATs, tenemos temperaturas que también tienen variables, pero esas temperaturas no nos pueden controlar.
And what happens with these systems, they recirculate the gas and they use it in the system, but gas production is inconsistent.
Pero es inconsistente el tipo de la producción de gas que se va a generar.
So you get a fluctuation in temperature, and the temperature is this. Okay, so in these systems you have something that's created called wax.
En el sistema tenés algo que se llama cera.
Wax. Okay, so if you think about how a hail ball, ice ball that comes down from the sky is formed,
Imagínense un granizo que cae del cielo.
it's formed in the cloud. What happens in the
Se hace
cloud?
una nube.
Bottom is water,
En la
that
parte de
gets
abajo,
pushed up to the top,
en la parte de abajo,
it gets
agua,
frozen, it comes down to the bottom, more water,
recircula la nube,
until it's too heavy and then it falls down.
se genera de repente granizo
So-
que cae.
So wax is created in the same way in these systems. If you don't have consistent temperature, you create wax, which creates a buildup in the system, which is dangerous and can cause explosions.
Pueden generar incluso explosiones o contraexplosiones, la generación de la misma
Okay. So it's more advanced in many ways, it's more safe in many ways, and now we'll move on to the system being completely closed and not needing to be open, releasing dioxins in the atmosphere.
Encima es un sistema que es cerrado y eso genera muchos peligros y muchas compresiones.
Okay, so in these systems, like I said, you have to open it and close it. When you introduce oxygen, you create dioxin, which is toxic.
En estos sistemas viejos hay que estar abriendo y cerrando las compuertas y eso genera distintos tipos de óxidos.
Dioxins, dioxins, they're toxic, they cause cancer. They kill
Son
you.
además toxinas que generan
You don't want dioxin.
no queremos eso.
In our system, we have an inert environment, meaning there is no oxygen.
En nuestro sistema no tiene oxígeno y tiene unos catalizadores especiales.
After the initial stage, there is the absence of oxygen, which means we produce no dioxin.
Eso genera que no haya dióxido.
Okay?
Dióxido de carbono.
So during the pyrolysis process, it's completely closed. There's no oxygen present, and so we create no toxic pollutants from the pyrolysis process. Okay? Now, during the system, as I said, we have condensable gas, non-condensable gas, and smoke.
Nosotros vamos a encontrar cosas que producimos. Humo, gas condensable y gas no condensable.
Okay? We recirculate 50% of the. Go ahead, answer that. We recirculate 50% of the calorific value required to heat the system. So,
Eso nos permite utilizar el 50% del fuego que necesitaría una máquina normal.
okay, so we take the gas that's coming out, we recirculate it, we put it to the burner,
El
we get
mismo gas que
50%
generamos
out.
lo
50.
utilizamos para poder utilizar la máquina en sí.
But in order to make sure we have consistent linear increase in temperature, we also use our own fuel to supply the other 50%.
Para poder suplementar el otro 50% usamos nuestro propio combustible que generamos para
So if we do get a variance in the gas coming in, we adjust our own fuel up so it continues to
Si
be.
hay una máquina de temperatura que se genera con el gas natural que genera la misma máquina, usamos nuestro propio combustible para poder utilizar.
In pyrolysis, the key are thermodynamics, your temperature mitigation, how you control your temperature, and if it has a varying degree of temperature.
Justamente en pirólisis es el punto de éxito de cómo se utiliza, que no haya variables.
You want to be as consistent as possible with your temperature. Any inconsistencies you have will cause a problem. Okay? So we've addressed those. As far as emissions going into the atmosphere, okay, so this system, we use our own oil that comes out in this machine. And 1,000 liters of our oil, we use it per day.
1000 litros de combustible que nosotros mismos generamos y utilizamos para mantener la máquina.
So out of this system, per day, we get 15,000 liters. We use 1,000 liters to fuel the machine.
Producimos 15.000 litros por día, pero 1.000 litros lo utilizamos para manejar la máquina.
And the other 50% comes from the gas
Y el
recipient.
otro 50% viene del
So
mismo
we don't
gas.
need to introduce any external
Así que no
items,
utilizamos
coal,
ninguna cosa externa.
gas, butane. We don't need to introduce anything to make it work.
No, para prenderlo. Lechero. Para prenderlo nada.
Electricidad.
Electricity, yeah.
Sí,
Yeah.
electricidad también.
So we use 55 kilowatt hours per hour, which is approximately, in Thailand, it's about $180 a day of
Más o menos
electricity.
son $180 diarios de electricidad.
And this is used
2,4 kilowatts por día.
to move the plastic through the machine
Para
and
que la
to
máquina pueda mover
shred the
el
plastic.
en una máquina y pueda redistribuir todas las distintas escaladas de plástico que se
Okay.
How come that our fuel is very different? How come that the fuel that you present
Yeah.
is really at the rest?
Okay.
If it comes to the initial stage,
Okay.
as you said, right?
Yeah.
But the initial stage of fuel is not eco-friendly.
So her question was, how is our fuel eco-friendly? Yes.
Está preguntando cómo es que el combustible sea amigable.
Okay, so the fuel is eco-friendly for a few reasons. So this has all come from oil, right?
Todo viene del petróleo.
But to make this,
Pero para hacer esto,
we have to take out sulfur,
para poder hacer
arsenic,
esto tenemos que sacar
mercury,
distintos metales,
cadmium,
mercurio,
chromium.
azufre.
I can't make you drink this. I'm gonna get you sick. I gotta take everything bad out of this first.
Para que vos puedas tomar la cantidad de todo lo posible.
This is food grade plastic. This polypropylene cap is about 85% oil.
El 80% de esta tapa, por ejemplo,
And I gotta take everything bad out of it so it doesn't leach into the water and I drink it.
para que no puedan intoxicar el agua que vos tomás y intoxicar todo lo posible.
Now you contrast that against the oil that comes out of the ground, I can leave everything in there. Arsenic, mercury, sulfur, any toxin that's coming out of the ground, I can leave it all in there because I'm just gonna burn it in the engine and there's no laws against it.
Todo lo que tenga que ver con respecto a lo que es tóxico puede caer en la tierra y yo en esta máquina, por ejemplo, puedo eliminar los
Okay, so our fuel has about 10 to 15% of the sulfur content as a standard fuel. So if you go and you pump gas somewhere, you're going to get anywhere from 0.1% to 0.05% sulfur content. Our oil is going to have 0.03%. And when we refine it into things like this diesel, it will have 0.0001%. So it's, even when you burn it compared to other fuel, it's going to have less polluting elements to it because it's already been refined once to be plastic. So the oil that we're getting, we call it crude oil equivalent. I can't call it crude oil per se because it's not coming from the ground. Okay, so this oil, as it comes out of the machine, it can be used directly to generate electricity. It can be used in manufacturing, like cement kilns, pencil factories, aluminum plants. It can be used in maritime vessels, very large shipping boats, cargo container boats that go back and forth without being refined. Straight from here, right into it. We sell it to the ferry boats that go from Saratani to Koh Samui. They buy our fuel straight away. That's what they run. Okay. If I refine this and I compare it to the best oil available, which is Brent sweet crude oil right now, the one that you see traded at the stock market at $60 a barrel, we sell ours at $70 plus per barrel. So we already sell it at a higher price. And there's a few reasons for that. One of them being what I just discussed: the sulfur content is low, the carbon content is low, the heavy metal content is low. And the other aspect is that there's a lot of litigation for oil companies to move to a more clean fuel. So now they're being obligated to mix in renewable fuels like this into their current stock.
Ahora quieren muchos gobiernos que tienen las petroleras, se está exigiendo cada vez más que tengan que tener cada vez las opciones de mejor limpieza de conocidos.
The waste to come from rivers or the sea.
A las petroleras en este momento están recibiendo
The waste?
Come from river and the sea.
aguas
Yeah.
combustibles colectos que son de renovación.
Okay, so she wanted to know about river waste and sea waste. So right now in Indonesia, we're working on, if you don't know about Indonesia, they have in the top 5 most polluting rivers in the world, they have 2,
Indonesia,
as far as plastic.
tiene, bueno, ella está preguntando por la basura plástica del río y la basura plástica de los océanos. Y por ejemplo, Indonesia tiene 2 ríos los más tóxicos del mundo.
So we're working with a company that captures oil spills. So they put out these big rafts and they capture the oil spills. We're working with them to devise something to catch plastic on the top of the river to feed into one of our machines.
Se dedican a captar petróleo, petroleros en el mar, tienen estas especiales trampas para poder agarrar el combustible que se derrama en el mar. Con estas mismas empresas están haciendo lo mismo para agarrar el plástico.
And the machine has a lot of heat, right? We have so much heat, we have what we call waste heat.
La máquina tiene tanto calor que generamos lo que se llama calor de basura.
And we use that waste heat in the case of rivers. We use that waste heat to then dry the plastic before we shred it to put it in the machine.
Y nosotros usamos ese calor para poder sacar el plástico que se va sacando del mismo río para que las bolsas se más.
So really the possibilities for the technology just continue to increase.
Así que sigue implementándose todo lo que tiene que ver con la evolución de la tecnología.
1 second.
So the entire process also produces like a residual or is there any waste?
So, okay.
And
So
how much percentage is of the 20,000
okay, good question. The question is, how much waste do you get from 20,000 kilograms of plastic?
Okay, la pregunta es, de los 20 toneladas de plástico, ¿cuánto realmente sirve para poder hacer combustible?
Okay, so you get char. So this char is like carbon. Carbon is then converted into charcoal, which you can cook with or barbecue with. We do actually, here, sometimes on the weekend.
Primero se llega al carbón,
And from that, it turns back into ash, which is about 2%. So if you were going to convert it all the way down and then all you have left is this charcoal and then you burn that and then you say, how much waste do I have at the end? 2% of ash, but it's non-toxic ash from carbon.
el 2% del total del proceso lo que queda como ceniza.
Work 24 hours? Yeah, so the system runs for 330 days per year, 24 hours a day. Every 45 days, you turn it off. 330 days per year. Yeah, so every 45 days, you turn it off for 3 days. Okay. During that time, we dedust. We take some of the carbon out that's maybe stuck somewhere. Just like when you work on a car. Check the oil. Make this. Works. Exactly. Okay, so a couple different things. I'm actually glad that you talked about that because it's one of the things that we like to talk about. So the founders of the company are inventors. They've invented more than a few things, and they've filed quite a few patents to have them stolen. So what happens when you file a patent? You give the entire world your plan in an exact blueprint. So unless you're prepared to go to court on a regular basis, it's not in your best interest to file. So, so for example, you have Huawei and you have iPhone. All of a sudden, Huawei is very much like the iPhone out of nowhere, and still they haven't lost any court cases. So the founders they protect the IP by making partners. We don't sell the machine. We form a partnership. In that partnership, we retain the technology. We have a partner. So when you go out there, you're going to see a big box. And inside that box is the equipment. And we protect the equipment by, we are the operators, we are the maintenance guys. We take care of it was chosen by the board based on previously having technology stolen. It's protected in a way that we are involved in every single place the machine goes. If it goes somewhere, our staff is there. Clean Air Act. Yes. Sure. Well, the Clean Air Act for the Philippines is kind of a shadow of the Clean Air Act of the EPA in the USA. So it's similar. It's kind of a copy because it's a good model. It is a good model. However, pyrolysis by nature is not a big polluter. Okay, it's not a big polluter by nature. Now, okay, so right now we're building a machine for France, and certain aspects of the machine are as tight as 5 milligrams per cubic meter of air. 5 milligrams is that much per cubic meter of air, which is quite much. Between France and Switzerland, they have the hardest Clean Air Acts in the world, and that's where our first Clean Air Acts machine. So I'm not worried about the whole unit. Yeah, it's going to be a polypetron 3-ton unit. So it processes 3 tons per day, because that's the licensing that partner has. Once they've operated for a term of, I believe it's 90 days, they can then expand to what it's going to do. It'll be shipped in approximately 3 weeks. It's going to be in Pulver. I always kill the name. Pulversheim, France.
Is it correct that you test the machine first year?
Yeah, we tested it last week. Yeah, we test run it last week. The oil, the thing is when you scale down, so we're going from a 20-ton to a 3-ton, the quality of the oil goes up even higher. Because it's like making, exactly, making very specific. So, I mean, if you see the fuel that comes out of the machine, you look here, you can see through it. You can see through it. There's not sediment, there's not a bunch of stuff. And I've personally talked to 88 pyrolysis manufacturers around the world. And I've cornered them all on certain issues that they can't answer. And one big one is the fuel. So believe me when I say that we have to be in the top 5% for the best fuel created. Woo! So if anybody has any more questions? Sure. Of course. Okay. Well, I asked you, what kind of phone do you have? Samsung. If I offered you a Vivo with the same features, would you take it? There you go.
La información del secreto de expresión habitual también que van a funcionar de todo. Entonces, me pregunta qué celular tenés. Un Samsung. Dice, si yo te diera una máquina de cada vivo que tenga alguna manera que salga un poco, te quedas con Samsung.
So the other big part of our business and what we're doing in Thailand is we're signing agreements with clients. So maybe somebody else has machines. Maybe somebody makes a machine better than ours, but they can't get the plastic. So we are making sure we secure the plastic.
Va a ser seguramente máquinas que consiguen mejores que la nuestra. Pero lo que acaba de estar que nosotros paramos, tenemos antes la producción.
We want deals with government and we want the plastic.
No tenemos la
We get the machine.
no tenemos esta técnica de directa. Ese es el gran problema.
So price wise, you are expensive, right? The most expensive ones, I didn't get this part, no, the bar. The price you want there,
Okay,
it's one of the most expensive prices in the world.
correct.
So and you try to bring with the companies like areas and machines, right?
Yeah, well, so we were just in a meeting last month with a company by the name of Vitol. If you don't know Vitol, they do about 250 billion a year in oil trading and selling. They offered to buy 100% of our oil as long as we can produce it.
And also this will continue to the price and
Yeah, so when I refine this, I can get diesel. This diesel, I can put it in some of these diesel cars out here. If I have a portion, you can refine it to that kind of diesel. Or if I need benzene or gasoline, I refine it to naphtha. And I turn that naphtha into kerosene and benzene gasoline. So you can refine it in the same way.
so it also effective as a control diesel. So for example, if you put the full bag of diesel, like so how long it will be, how long it will be, how long you can use it, for example, just a normal part, like how long
You can use this oil as in internal combustion engines to supply the power input that you need, the same way that you would at the gas station. You fill it up, your tank is empty, you fill it up, your tank is empty, on and on.
how long it will be, how long it will be, to see the difference. Like how long it will show up. Yeah.
Oh, like storage. Can I put this in a big container and store it?
Yeah.
It's the same as crude oil. You just put it. If I converted it into diesel or gasoline, the same as anybody else, I have to put an additive inside to preserve the shelf life. You need preservatives. Doesn't matter if it's mine. Doesn't matter if it comes out of the ground. If you've already distilled it, you have to put preservative. If you're going to leave it for 10 years, 20 years. You have to put something. So the refinery that we use now, we use Saraburi, which is where our technology was born. They have a big refinery there. They allow us to use it because our relationship is still good. But we plan on here, some of the plans here are to add a refinery unit there. And then just across the road on the other side, we're going to put the first Sepco gas station. That's the plan, so you can just pick which one you want, fill it up. And then you can get, actually, I mean, you guys are aware that we did the first plastic to fuel car race. You saw that? That was fun. So yeah, I mean, you can even turn this back into plastic. You don't have to make just fuel. You can make it back into plastic. You can make tires, asphalt. Yes. Any other questions?
What is the other?
Oh, this is just different versions of diesel. This is a super premium diesel, alternative diesel from plastic. Same. The workers. I'm not sure I understand.
How you take care of your workers because of the way.
The protection.
So my brothers worked in waste management for 25 years in the USA, and when you work in waste management, trash doesn't bother you. I mean, you're around it all day long. You see a guy dumping it in every country. You see guys dumping trash, right? This is a pretty normal job. I mean, it's the same precaution that you would have anywhere that you have trash. You can wear a mask to prevent from inhaling particles. Yeah, it's a job. It's a job. What we do here, we make sure that they have their insurance coverage covered by us. And we pay them a hazard pay rate, which is 40% higher than in the region. So if they're going to get, for example, let's say for simplicity's sake, they get $10 somewhere, we're going to pay them $50. So we pay them much.